Was Gucci Ma Nuggets? And welcome to the Homie Humpday show of the Raucous Modern Life podcast, where the episodes are fun, light, and filled with shits and giggles. These sods will be ad-free with less editing to highlight the kagaguan of my friends and I. So if you got time to spare, let's get retarded in here. Homie Humpday. Homie Humpday. Homie Humpday. Homie Humpday. What's up, Mark? Why don't you introduce yourself, your profession, and your favorite meal that you had today?
Hey, my name is Mark D, and I'm an entrepreneur. My main business right now is food, so I'm in the food business. Uh, Last meal that I've had.
Not the last meal, your
You
favorite
know what?
meal that you had today.
I don't know, my favorite today. You know what? My favorite meal really that I shouldn't have, like that I want to have every day, but I shouldn't have is fried chicken. As
Do you,
a
like your fried chicken,
as hard to
or
believe,
like,
but I'm a simple guy.
or from some
You know what's funny?
store?
Like I can't even make really good fried chicken because a lot of places locally can actually make really good fried chicken. So I already have my top three.
Let's hear it.
Top three. But not sponsored eh. They're
Yeah.
not
Oh,
sponsored.
yeah. So wag
So,
na.
hindi, okay lang. So, okay, my top three would be in no specific order. Just to be top three fried chicken is Chowking,
Ooh.
Popeyes, and of course Jollibee.
All right, I agree 100%. And I like how you went for the fast food. Like not even these like artisanal like fried chicken, yung mga pampered up.
Fuck that, dude.
Dude, you gotta
No.
be oily and you gotta have your MSG.
Yeah, yeah. And for me, like a slight. What really surprised me was Popeye's chicken.
Really.
Because I mean, how can you go wrong with three pieces of fried chicken at like what mashed potatoes, rice for less than 180 pesos? I think it was like 165 pesos.
Right, yeah. Super cheap.
Three pieces chicken and with fries. I think it had no fries. But anyway, super super sulit.
Yeah.
Not expensive at all.
No,
I mean,
I super agree. Popeye's chicken is bomb. I wanted to ask, are you a biscuit guy or more of a with rice and fries type of dude?
I'm a with rice and fries type of
Rice and
guy.
fries. Pinoy paran. Pinoy
Yeah, so
paran.
yeah, of course. Extra gravy, bro.
Extra gravy, kailangan. But dude, super agree with actually all of your choices. Chowking chicken, I feel is super underrated here in the Philippines. Bro, that batter is
hmm
amazing. It's like so light and like always
Super crispy,
crunchy,
right?
super crispy, and like when you have it with the Chowking chili, oh baby, chef's kiss.
Uh, oh, I haven't had it with the chili. What
Dude,
I
it's fire.
yeah.
It's fire, man.
Mm,
You should hit that up next time.
it's fire.
All right, man. Well, thank you for sharing those fried chicken recos. Like, I'm pretty sure you guys have all heard of those fried chicken branches. Chowking chicken. If you ain't on that shit, you missing out, bro. You sleeping, you living under a rock, cause that stuff is really fire.
Wait, Chowking should sponsor Rock's podcast. The RML podcast.
Guys, kung may plugs kayo, pa-hit up naman dyan. Like, I'm always open for collabs. Kahit, you don't even need to pay me, bro. Just give me that damn chicken and I'll be good, bro.
Yeah, chicken on every episode. It's fine.
All right. So, Mark, thank you so much for joining me today. You've been a friend of mine for a while. So, a little background for the listeners that don't know. I met Mark because my high school classmate, Vic Silverio, who's probably listening to this episode, shout out to Vic, is like half brothers with Mark D. So, we met like through just a couple of chill drinking sessions in Vic's house, and ever since then we've been kind of like hitting it off, and he's been a pretty good friend of mine ever since. So thank you so much for joining me today in this podcast. Mark's an amazing cook, so I'm pretty sure you know this by clicking this episode, but he's behind Munch Manila. And if you follow him on Instagram, your eyes will be blessed, but your stomach will be in distress because all of his stories got them slapping food and he just goes ham in the lab. So thank you again, Mark, for joining me today.
Oh, uh, I'm honored, man. You know what? Like what I told you, right? I mean, I think it's always been a dream of mine to be a guest in somebody's podcast, man. So I'm happy to be here, and thank you for the invite.
Of course, man. It's always nice to chill with some homies, and I mean, I'm sure you're gonna get that. You're gonna do well in this podcast because, like, you're a podcast veteran. So, for those of you guys who didn't know, Mark actually had a podcast back in 2003. 2003, guys. Back po, wala pang podcast sa Spotify or Google Podcasts, parang Apple Podcasts lang. Super analog yung vibe, and some good times. So I'm pretty sure you're gonna do just fine in this episode, bro.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's been what 18-year hiatus. So it's good to be back, man. No,
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. But yeah, I've seen like how podcasts have evolved throughout the years, and that's why like I think it's one of the correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's one of the last true raw sources of media for me. That's my
Right.
opinion. Like that's
Yeah.
why. So I believe it's like one of the closest to its like you know raw form, right?
Yeah,
So
where you get to
yeah.
hear the real stories unedited, and although this podcast is probably going to be edited, like I'm going to do as much as possible to show you guys, like, just how it is when Mark and I are chilling, hanging out, especially when back when it was normal times. So um I'm gonna kick off the pod as I always do by asking the question, what's poppin'? So Mark, what's poppin', bro?
What's poppin', man? Well, you know, I'm a first time dad, so I've been hands on with our baby boy, and my wife and I, of course. I try to help out as much as I can. So it's been a trip, man. It's been a wild. He was a quarantine baby. I mean, you know, born during the COVID era. We made it happen, and he's here, and it's still it's there's still COVID, but he's, and what else? So
Parenting's a trip, bro.
besides doing food, besides doing food, yeah, I'm also into Axie Infinity right now. So I'm pretty sure you you've heard of that since, di ba, sobrang sikat niyan sa
Of
Pinas
course.
yan eh. Na na may mga managers tsaka may scholars. So,
So
you
are
know,
you a manager or
yun
are
lang.
you
That's
one to
it, man.
play as well?
Actually, yeah, for me to become a manager, I had to know like how the game is played or how the game should be played. And the thing is, it really consumed me, bro. Like from morning to night.
Kinain ng sistema.
I mean, I would consume. Oo, yun talaga. Yun talaga yung literal na kinain ng sistema. Manunod ako ng YouTube videos. Twitch videos. Then ano po ba? Yeah. It's I mean,
Yeah,
wala,
it's booming right now,
it's
man. Like I have so many friends that are in this Axie
yeah.
community, and it's like for me, like the what's so great about Axie is during the quarantine, there were a lot of gamers that emerged because everybody's stuck at home. Everybody has an absurd amount of free time now on their hands, and people just went back to their childhood roots of playing games. And you know how Twitch got really big, people started streaming their games, and the gaming industry just started booming ever since the pandemic dropped. And Axie, I feel like it's such a game changer for a lot of the people out there, because not only do you get to play and enjoy video games, but you get to make some bank out of it. And that's what I find so intriguing. But since you've been watching a lot of Axie content and doing a lot of R&D of how the game works, do you understand like how the monetization comes into play per match, and how does it get like distributed to you and all of that stuff?
Um yeah, to a certain extent, yes. But I'm still pretty early. So I think I'm just around, when did I start? 2 months in. So
Okay.
still pretty early, but the game has changed by a lot. I mean, I've made a few mistakes, but it's a learning process. And I'm still enjoying the process. The game is still here, despite some, yeah. So I mean, let's see. Hopefully, I get my investment back
Yeah.
and
Um
more.
it's
So
funny actually. Mark and I were talking off air has as to how he started getting into Axie, because a couple of, well, I don't know. I could share the story, but I feel like it's a lot better if you share the story of how you got the capital to start investing in Axie and really diving into it, because it's a pretty funny story.
yeah, just to make the a long story short, this is not financial advice by any means, but
No, we are not
you have
professionals.
to really yeah. This is only for educational purpose, educational and for informative purposes only.
And
So you
entertainment.
have to do your own research. But anyway, yeah. Um, so I FOMO'd my way into crypto basically. Uh, had a bad case of FOMO, and that's why I hopped in without knowing like just knowing like close to zero. But times have changed. There's a lot of content out there that can educate you and inform you about that about certain investment decisions that you might want to do. So it's best that you do your own research before for putting any money down. So yeah, that's what I would say. Uh,
So what happened? Why don't you tell the listeners how you got this
ah,
capital out of nowhere to start diving into this
okay.
deep rabbit hole what Axie
So
is?
basically, I FOMO. So I FOMO'd my way back in 2018, and then I think by 2009, so bought the top, market crashed. I said, okay, there's only one way for me not to lose money, and that's not to sell. So I didn't sell my crypto, just left it. Um, went back in 2000. Went back to check on it back in 2020, and didn't see any money in my account. So I thought my account was hacked back in 2019. So anyway, fast forward to 2021. I thought I lost all my money because the exchange got hacked. But apparently, if you log into your mobile and if you log into your laptop or your desktop, it's completely different. So I found some bags of gold. It felt like I found like a treasure chest. So I found some money lying around in an account. So now I use that to invest. So now I'm just like trying to make it grow.
Yeah, and that's such a crazy story. Like, just investing at it. And for those of you guys who are wondering, like you crypto nerds out there, what stock it was? It was Bitcoin. It was Bitcoin, like back in 2018 when there was like hype, but then not so much hype around it. Crypto was still kind of like a growing thing, although it did hit its new high. But yeah, Mark invested because a friend told him to do so, and then he kind of forgot about it, thought he lost it, and then next thing you know, when he checks in back in 2021, it grew like over 500%. So Mark is one of the lucky guys that
Yeah.
got a piece of the pie before it really boomed.
Yeah, but you know what? It's still pretty early. So it's still pretty early. You can still hop on the crypto trade.
So
But
I just want
yeah,
to
I
ask before
mean,
we move into like the food topics, like why did you decide to go up to for your Axie Infinity over just playing the crypto game, or might maybe investing in other things? What about Axie kind of like interested you in putting in some stock into it?
well, first it was the hype, the curiosity. Like there's a play to earn game. Meaning like like people it originated. There was an article that originated in that. There was an article that that talked about some individuals in Cabanatuan playing a play to earn game called Axie Infinity that can pay the bills. So it got me curious. So I checked it out because I was already in crypto. I was already invested in crypto. So I said, you know what, let's give this a go. And yun, kinain ako ng sistema after that. Then now but then now you know what, I'm just like holding on to my investment, and I hope that after maybe in less than a year I would be able to recuperate it, which
Yeah.
is not bad.
That's not bad at all, man. And it's actually really interesting. I feel like Axie has a lot of potential because there's so many gamers out there, and if you already dedicate a lot of your day and the time to playing video games, why not play something that can make you a little sun on the side? But again, I just want to reiterate that this is not financial advice, guys. We are not we are not accountants. We are not like I don't think any of us graduated with like a finance or economics degree. So take this with a grain of salt, guys. This is just something that Mark has been up to, and if you want to get into Axie, you got to do your due diligence and get some research in. But one of the things that Mark is good at, and one of the things that he is accredited for, is being a cook. So, as I mentioned earlier in the show, he is the man behind Munch Manila and even a food catering service that he does on the side. And he's been making great dishes. So, why don't we start off this part of the podcast by playing a game? Are you down to play a game?
Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
All right. So, for the regular listeners, you already know this game. It is Smash or Pass. So, for the new ones that don't know what it is, basically, I'm gonna give Mark two options, and obviously are revolved around food. And he either has to smash on one or pass on one. So, pretty simple. I'll count down from 5 so that may konting time pressure din sa mga choices, and let's see what Master Cook Mark D has to decide about this. So for the first question of the Smash or Pass game, would you smash or pass on dim sum or sushi? Okay, so that's 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1.
Dim sum.
Dim
Dim
sum.
sum.
No, which one? Which one? Are you smashing? Are you passing
Oh,
on dim sum?
oh, wait. Smashing, of course.
Smashing on dim
Smash,
sum.
dude.
Okay, so dim sum over sushi. Why?
You know, it's close, man. But I didn't want to say both. But then, Because with dim sum you have like something that's steamed. You would have something that's steamed. You would have something that's fried.
Mm-hmm.
You would have like it's not just not it's different kinds of you get like vegetables. Also, you get like seafood.
Mm-hmm.
You get like meat, and I don't know, man. Like that was pretty close. But I think like dim sum would be like if you're if you're already let's say if you're already like if you had like if you had some drinks, that would be like a perfect after drink meal or something.
Mm.
But with sushi though, has to be like super fresh, and yeah, and there's like only a few places that you can go to where it's like
Top
you're
quality.
guaranteed to have like something that's top quality, and yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Like dim
So I
sum,
think
there's like,
dim
yeah,
sum wins for like
less room for error. You got the fat, greasy, crunchy, all these different textures. Sushi, on the other hand, when it's done well, it's done super well. But here in the Philippines, we do have some good sushi options, but not as much, I think, as compared to dim sum. But if you have any violent reactions to Mark's choice, comment down below on this post or share it and be like, Mark, you blasphemous out here. um, but so yeah, why don't we hop on to the next question? And the next question of the smash or pass. So just for context again, you say smash on one item and then pass on the other one, just so that there's some clarification. Okay?
okay. So I should say like smash on this, pass on that,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
smash
yeah.
on both.
Yeah, or you could,
Ah,
well, you could smash on both, but kind of a cop out answer.
yeah. Right. So
Okay, okay.
you have to pick one.
Yeah, I
Okay,
have to pick one. That's what
got
makes
it.
it fun. That's what makes it fun. All right, so for question number 2, Indian or Japanese curry? So we'll go 5,
Whew.
4, 3, 2, and 1. Go.
Um. Okay. Pass on Japanese curry.
Wow.
Smash on Indian curry, of course.
Okay, okay. Why, of
Ah,
course?
so fun. Uh okay. Because Indian curry, you really have to have the spices,
Mhm.
and I think like it depends from every individual on how they make their curry, and you would need to have the legit spices, and there's a lot, there's a ton. With Japanese curry, it's already packed for you. It's already like it's not that good.
Really? You're not a big
You know what
Jap curry
you know.
guy?
No, I mean you know what's even better than Japanese curry?
Mm.
That's easy to make. The Korean brand, the Korean brand of curry.
Really? I've
The
actually never
Koreans have
had
their own
Korean
brand of
curry.
curry.
Okay. So what's it like? How
Um,
different is it
it
from Japanese?
it tastes it tastes it's similar to Japanese curry, but it tastes slightly better for me.
Okay.
With certain brand, it's a Korean brand, the Otogi brand.
Mm.
I think
No
you
idea.
can buy it off Mart on Grab, but it's powder. It's curry
Okay.
powder. I mean, yeah, it's curry powder. You just mix it in with water. Easy to make. I think it tastes better than the golden curry, the
Mm.
Japanese
Yeah, like the
branded
typical
ones.
one.
So,
Yeah. All right. Okay. I see.
but
I
for me,
see.
Indian curry all the way.
So you're more of a Royal Indian curry house over Coco Ichibanya.
Ah, yeah. I think I'm more of like I want to really oh like dude like the more yeah more of
Yeah.
a Royal Indian curry house,
All
or
right.
you know what
Simple
maybe
enough.
best some
Mm.
like a like an Indian grandmother would be cooking curry
Mm.
for you or something, or like an
You know,
Indian mother, like
with
a
some
home cook,
love, right?
like a
Some
home
love.
yeah,
All right.
like
That's
lutong
fair.
bahay, yung parang lutong bahay sa
Oh,
UP, di ba?
oh,
Tapos isipin
masarap
yung lutong
yan,
bahay
dude.
pero
LB, baby. Yo, I know what you mean though. Like, it's a totally different ball game when it's made from an Indian mom, made with love. Traditional recipe
yeah.
made from like from her
Yeah,
grandma and their
yeah.
grandma's grandma.
Made by a yeah, made by a local.
Yeah,
That
no,
that has to be that,
fair.
right?
Very fair, very fair. All right, so for our next question, you know, here in Manila especially, or the Philippines, back in the normal times, you have a couple of drinks with your friends, go out to some local bar, you're having a good time, but after all that you want to go get a meal, right? Like, you got to, and here in the Philippines there are a lot of fast food chains that are open late at night, and you just want to get a grub before you hit the sack back at home. So for the third question, would you rather smash or pass on Jollibee or McDo?
Oh, oh,
Five, four,
uh,
three,
okay,
two,
Jollibee,
and
man.
one.
Jollibee because of the chicken.
Because of the
Smash on
chicken.
Jollibee for the chicken.
Yeah, well, honestly,
But
Jollibee's
if
chicken joy's
Jollibee's,
elite.
I mean, whatever's open, yeah.
Or whatever's
Oh,
closest.
basta Thai part lang. Thai part, basta Thai part lang.
Thai part
I mean,
lang.
do you eat like do, do you eat the breast part? I mean, I have nothing against
Yeah.
people who eat fried chicken, white meat, but I just prefer my fried chicken to be like the dark meat, thigh or leg
No,
only.
fair. Yeah, no, I agree. Dark meat is so much better. But bro, when I'm drunk, I'll take whatever you can give me, bro. You give me the neck, I'll eat it, bro.
Yo,
But
no,
yeah,
the neck is actually one of my favorite parts too.
it's really good. Yeah, it's fatty and
Yeah,
got this crunchy skin.
yeah,
But yeah, I mean, I agree with
yeah. The
you. I'm
skin.
actually Team Jollibee. Though McDo's chicken nuggets are fire, and they got some pretty good burger series out there. I don't know, Jollibee's something about chicken and palabok late at night just slaps different, man. It just
Ah,
slaps different.
yeah, yeah,
All right.
yeah. That's right, man.
Yeah, diba? Like some Jollibee palabok. I don't know if that's C2, C3, something like that. But it's good. It's good. It's some good stuff. Diba? And then when you're super
Basta
drunk,
ako thigh part lang.
Thai part lang. So kung walang Thai part, walk out ka.
Walk out,
Walk
bro.
out.
Like
Wow.
walk out, hassle.
Wow.
But
Okay.
like
Okay.
I've done it like I've done it like a few times. Hassle, pero you gotta do what you gotta do, man.
All right. All right. I see
But
you.
like,
I
cause
see
like
you.
every time that I eat fried chicken and it's not dark meat, I feel like kulang yung kulang yung meal ko eh. So
Mm.
I would have fried chicken again, and
Yeah.
and make sure that I have
It
the
doesn't
thigh
quench
part.
that craving. Yeah, I know. I feel you. And
Yeah,
for those
yeah.
of you guys who like don't really pay attention to that stuff, next time you order two-piece chicken, order one breast part, and then order one thigh part, and then eat the breast part first, and watch how mind fucked you get by the thigh part. Because damn, it's like a different ball game, honestly.
Yeah, dude.
All right, so
But no, but not hating
okay.
on white meat lovers.
Yeah. No, it's good for its own things, but for fried chicken and like if it's like, just the basic batter and then with the gravy, you got to go for the thigh. But yeah, moving on to the fourth question of the smash or pass game. So here in the Philippines, we have one of the best breakfasts in the world. Like, I personally believe that you got your tocinos, you got your tapas, you got your corned beef, but all over the rest of the world, everybody like praises the American breakfast with their bacon, the pancakes, the waffles, the all of the works. So for the fourth question of the Smash or Pass game, would you rather smash or pass on American or Pinoy breakfast? So let's go from five, four, three, two.
Smash
Okay.
on. Okay, yes, obviously smash on Pinoy breakfast.
Okay.
Pass on
Okay.
American breakfast.
All right. Why though?
Bro, I'm a simple guy, man. Ako, simple lang talaga yung taste ko. Garlic rice, nor, tsaka egg. Okay na ako dun.
Crucial ignore, dude. Crucial ignore.
'Di ba? Yun lang eh. Any good Pinoy breakfast would start. That's your foundation, 'di ba? Garlic
Yeah.
rice, egg. Egg, ikaw ang bahala kung anong gusto mong style. Basta ako, sunny side up is fine, with the melty yolk, and then of course Nor.
Of
Then
course. Of course.
whatever you have whatever you have, na ulam,
Yeah.
it's
Whether
up to
it's
you.
tapa, tocino, danggit, corned beef, I don't
Danggit
know.
pare, danggit.
Danggit, fire yun, dude. Uh, but yeah, I agree with you. I think Pinoy breakfast is elite for anybody around the world. All you white folks listening out there. I know I have some listeners in like Idaho for some reason. I hope you're Pinoy if you're listening to this podcast because it just would not make
For
sense
some reason.
if you're like a white dude listening to this podcast. But if you are and you're not a fan of rice, you gotta have Pinoy garlic fried rice because that will change your life. Okay, so for the last question of this game, it's quite simple and it's kind of related to what you do on a normal basis, but the gist of this topic for the last question is blasphemy to the Italians, doing them dirty, disgracing their art and culture, and they're both pretty popular dishes here in the Philippines. So would you rather smash or pass on Hawaiian pizza or Pinoy spaghetti na may hotdog? Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Go.
I would pass on Pinoy spaghetti,
Wow.
and I would
Okay.
smash on Hawaiian pizza
Some controversy
because
here. All right.
bacon and pineapple actually works. Sweet and salt, sweet, savory, and salty works. It's just the balance of it. But sweet spaghetti, you only have sweet.
Hmm.
I mean, it's the only flavor profile that you have there. So I think if it's balanced, then but no, I don't have a sweet tooth. That's the thing. I'm a savory guy.
Same,
So
bro.
for
Same.
me like like a little sweet is fine. But if it's too sweet, nah,
All right.
pass.
Fair, fair, fair. So, any of the haters out there that are Pinoy spaghetti loyalists, you could find Mart at Marks D. Pero,
Come
pero,
at me.
haters come at him.
Come at me, bro.
But yeah, you heard this pick. So dim sum over sushi, Indian curry over Japanese curry, Jollibee over McDo, Pinoy breakfast over American, and Hawaiian pizza over Pinoy spaghetti. So thank you for sharing some of these controversial but insightful topics. And honestly, off the bat, I would probably agree with you on most of them, except for probably the dim sum and
The
Indian
curry.
curry. I don't know. I love Japanese
The
food. I might be
curry.
biased. I love Japanese food so much. Coco Ichibanya is like my go-to restaurant, but it's fair. It's fair. I mean, these were hard questions, and that was kind of the point of it. So,
Yeah, yeah.
all right. So, with that, we will be taking a quick break, and after the show, we'll be talking more about pizza and how Mark conceptualized his brand, which is Munch Manila, how he started developing his skills as a cook. But first, you gotta hear this ad on. And we're back. So, as I mentioned before the break, Mark actually does a pretty mean Hawaiian pizza because, and that may be the reason why he was swayed to opt towards Hawaiian pizza over Pinoy spaghetti. But for those of you guys who don't know, and I've mentioned it earlier in the pod, so if you don't know, then wala, di kayo attentive. Pero Mark is the man behind Munch Manila, which is this rising new frozen pizza and fresh pizza local business that serves honestly premium pizza. Like if you are one that likes to enjoy freshly baked pizza or premium pizza, then you will for sure enjoy Munch Manila. And for those of you guys who live in a condo, don't necessarily like cooking as much, but want to enjoy a good quality meal, he also does meal services. And yeah, he's just a great cook, guys. So if you head on over to his Instagram, follow him, you can see his daily food porn escapades, or his different experiences that and experiments that he goes through in his lab. And I've known him since like maybe about 2018, 2017, and he's really grown as a cook. Always knew that he was into food, but over the quarantine he really just harnessed his skills. So yeah, like with that, I was just curious, like Do you remember the meal or dish or culinary experience that really started your passion into getting into the food industry?
Okay, so for a meal that started, you know what? Okay, this is how I started in the food business. So before the food, whoops, dude, bigla siyang
Okay.
tumalan sa table, pare.
Okay lang, we
Bigla
can
siyang
keep
tumalan
this
sa
in the video.
table.
So for those of you guys who are
Yo,
watching this
hey,
video on
this is
YouTube, you can see
Toro.
already. But on Spotify, you cannot see. But there's a cat in the video. So get on the shit. Who is this? Can you introduce us to this wonderful looking feline?
So this is Toro. Why Toro?
Toro.
Because tuna.
Ooh, cute.
Hey,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
fatty tuna,
Yeah. Yeah.
Toro. So that's how much I love food. I named my cat, I
Yeah.
know, the fatty part of the tuna. So yeah, meal. No, how did I start into food? Before diving into cooking, before diving into being a food entrepreneur, I worked uh, I worked in Bulacan for the municipal government of San Rafael. So I was a consultant there under the mayor, and it was basically a government job.
Okay.
So um, you would attend to uh, the needs of your of the you attend to people's needs. Some of them need like medical assistance and whatnot. But then after the 9 to 5, what I would do is I would go back home and watch the Food Network
Mm.
and watch
Classic.
like cooking shows.
Cable pa.
Yeah, cable.
Yeah.
Yeah, not on YouTube or not anything online. Cable. So funny that I actually watched almost all the episodes,
Wow.
like every day. Every
Okay.
day it was just like I mean every night. The TV was just on, and I would just like watch all the cooking shows.
Martha Stewart, the
Not know
works.
and yeah, everyone until the point came where I would turn on the TV and I would say, "Oh, I've seen this episode already." Like
Okay.
it was like that, dude. So I watched practically every episode. What was showing on TV, I watched it. But I wasn't cooking, which was weird.
Hmm.
And maybe and after my stint in the government, I was unemployed. I was out of work, and I said, you know what? I think it's time to give it a shot. Time to try try to cook something at least, and stop watching, stop like looking at. Stop watching and just start doing. So
Yeah,
that's
I
what
mean, you
happened.
had all the information already. And yeah, like I mean, was there a certain dish or at a restaurant or a culinary experience that kind of like, you know, started your awakening? Like, shit, parang this is like something that I've done before. Like, parang kaya ko to. Like, doesn't seem so difficult. And it just kind of like, jump started your brain to start thinking towards entering the food
I
business.
see. I think that for some people, yes, it might be a meal,
Hmm.
but for me, it was more of the exposure to food, to cooking, because both my mom and dad cook. They opened restaurants. They opened some restaurants before. They also had their catering businesses before. So growing up, I would always see them in the kitchen cooking. So, but it never really made me want to really go and help them and cook or to learn how to cook. So it just happened that they were also doing their food business before, and now I'm also doing my food business, and even my brother is doing his own food business. So I guess I think it's more of that, like
Hmm.
seeing both my parents cook. That's what like kind of made me cook as well.
Yeah, and that's really naman how most cooks, really get into the food industry. I mean, of course, there's some anomalies here and there, but generally, when you're growing up, if you're exposed to different types of cuisines and different methods of cooking, that's what really kind of expands your taste buds in at an early age, because time and time again you meet so many not only Filipinos but like people all over the world um wherein their palate is just so constricted towards some dishes. Like here in the Philippines, I've had countless classmates and you know different friends that that grew up with their baon being like pancit canton and red hot dog, diba? And then that's like all they really knew, and they wouldn't really eat vegetables. They wouldn't really dive into like the different tastes and aromas that food could possibly bring. And I could kind of resonate with you on that point because my mom is an amazing cook, so I'm very lucky to have her as my mom and really expand my range of taste buds, because like honestly, like food is really an experience. And during the quarantine, that's like one of the only real, I don't know, maybe different experiences that you could really have, because like at home, like you're watching Netflix, of course you have your experiences watching shows and consuming content, but we weren't able to travel and try different things, and food was like kind of the outlet for that. And it's a shame, but I mean, everybody has to each its own. But there's like food can really bring you places. It could bring you back in time to nostalgic things that your parents might have made, and make you feel like just for a glimpse of time that you're like in Italy, if you're having a good pizza, or if you're having some really good Chinese food, make you feel like you're in the hawkers markets, or in like downtown Hong Kong, just having some good fried dim sum or like some good quality fried rice. It could really take you places, and it's one of the sensations that as human beings that we're gifted as. And it's nice to know that you took that opportunity to really expand and build off the one of the blessings that you had of being a son of two cooks, and you know those influence that your parents have gave, kind of, I'm sure that like played a large role in your interest in food in general. So I wanted to ask, so like for me personally, I'm not really a good cook. I mean, I could cook like some basic shit, like I could cook a good steak, but that doesn't really mean much if, because the quality is dependent naman on the meat. Or like I could cook some spam fried rice, pero like that again, it's on the product more than the skills of the cook. But I wanted to ask, like, how did you start improving your culinary skills? Because I don't know if your parents may have taught you the basics of cooking, or if you learned it all by yourself, but I'm sure the pandemic had a large role to play with it as well.
Yes, definitely. It's just like I think um, when when I started feeding, my family, meaning my wife and my kid, but initially, feeding my wife her
Gotta keep
daily
her happy.
meals. Yeah, we gotta keep her happy. That's what made me connect with food even more. Like, don't get me wrong, but I didn't really take culinary. I didn't go to culinary school, and I'm not telling that culinary graduates should not go to culinary school. But I mean, if it is something that you want to do, I think you don't need to go to school for it. There's a lot of sources that you can. I mean, do you want to spend like half a million or close to a million pesos just to learn how to cook,
Right.
right? I mean, you can already do trial and error at home. That my only advice is just like go and just do it. I mean, you will really make mistakes, and and those are lessons. Those are lessons for you to actually grow, so that you hone your craft. So I'm not. I think I'm not sure if I'm really good. Because uh,
Nah, tangina.
because
Humble pa daw
I haven't really,
eh.
no, I haven't really worked in the kitchen, man. I mean, like,
Okay.
I've worked in the kitchen that I run, but
Okay.
in terms of like professional experience, like working in a restaurant, no. But you know, cooking at home, because that's what some people say, that when you're cooking at home and cooking for as a or like cooking for work is are two completely different things.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, yeah,
Yeah, and like yeah, for like when you're cooking at home, it's a different experience because you're cooking for your family, and your family naman will love you no matter what. So even if the dish is super good or if it's super
yeah.
shitty, mahal ka pa rin. So there's a little
Oh,
like
hindi,
let oh
yeah.
ano basta ano.
Basta ang style doon, tagalan mo magluto para gugutumin mo sila. Para
Ah, okay.
pagkakain nila, sasabihin na nilang masarap yun kasi gutom na sila eh.
Okay, yeah, actually, and like tried and tested. When lunch is delayed, you get extra hungry, and anything tastes good at that point. But building off like what Mark said, he never went to culinary school. He was just working with like the basic knowledge that he had of the TV networks and the shows and that. And look where he is today. Like he has his own food business, and he serves amazing products that are really worth trying. So I think if anybody is passionate about food, you really think that this is like your calling, or you always end up coming back to food, then it's never too late to give it a try. Because Mark never went to culinary school, like yet look where he is today. And I think it's crucial to just start small and kind of build off your way there, because you're gonna make mistakes nga, and it's important lang to learn from them and to apply them in the future times that you do end up cooking. But I'm also curious to know, like, is there any dish that you're like particularly proud of? Like it like either took really long time to perfect or to get it right, or just something that you feel like you do very well, that shit, you can make some money out of this.
Yeah. I think just recently, because my my dream is to really have like to really cook for people, like small groups, maybe have like a small house with a small house near Tagaytay where you see the
Mm.
view of the lake. Then you have like a chef's table. You just like invite your friends and family over. You just cook for them during the weekends. That's really my dream. So it doesn't have to be like something that's super extravagant, or that's super that's like wherein you're feeding like hundreds or thousands of people day in day out. No, for me, I'd still want to have that connection where you're cooking for just like a few number of people.
Yeah, right. Like, very intimate and social, like while you're cooking, you're making
Exactly. Yeah.
cuento, having a couple of drinks, just having a good
Exactly.
time, some good music in the background, and just having it's
Yes.
a vibe.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's a vibe, diba? Like just having good times.
Also,
And
yeah,
sorry, you were
yeah,
saying?
your question your question meaning, so what dish, right, am I
Right,
proud
yeah.
of?
Yeah.
So it's actually a tasting course.
Okay.
So
Wow.
before, I never really so it's actually a menu that I made myself, um focusing on on four ingredients that I enjoy the most eating. And at the same time, I think that it's not at oh yeah, so it's not as so it's obviously a little bit more on the premium high end
Okay.
scale.
Yeah.
But of course, you just reserve that for like special occasions and whatnot. So a dish that I am proud of is actually lobster noodles.
Okay. So why don't you walk us through the process of like making this lobster noodles? I mean, you don't need to share your secret ingredients or your secret prep, but like,
No,
what are
yeah.
in these lobster noodles?
Okay. So starting with the raw ingredient, right? So it's lobster, and you actually don't have. It's not as common to have lobster even once a month.
Right.
You, like I mean, they don't even serve it in a lot of restaurants here, right? But I mean, maybe in other parts of the world, you can order lobster from the menu.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're more into like crabs
Yeah.
more, and then
Also,
shrimps,
given like
right?
the demographic of like the Philippines versus like somewhere like Maine, where
Exactly.
or like the Atlantic Ocean,
Uh-huh.
where lobsters are more prevalent, right?
Uh-huh.
It's more of a premium
Exactly.
ingredient
That's
here in the
right.
Philippines.
Yes, that's right. And but that's at the same time, if you see lobster on the table, that means like it's a celebration, right?
Right.
It's like you're celebrating something, or like you're having like a really nice meal, similar to when you have cochinillo or lechon,
Mm-hmm.
right? So anyway, lobster noodles is first the first tip the first trick to making lobster noodles is actually not to boil it, not to
Hmm.
boil the lobster.
Wow. Okay. So off the
You
bat,
don't
it's
boil it.
already alternative. So what do you
Yeah.
do?
Because when you boil it, you run the risk of overcooking it.
Okay.
Um, so what you do is you actually boil water, then you put the lobster in a separate container. Then you pour the boiling water over the lobster. Then
Mm.
you steep it.
Okay.
When you steep the lobster, that's the time you get to release the meat from the shell,
Okay.
and you
To kind of
don't get
separate it.
and you don't exactly, and then you don't run the risk of overcooking your lobster meat.
What
So you
what is
preserve the
what is
lobster.
like overcooked lobster meat? Because I'm actually not sure. Like, can you tell like when it's overcooked?
Um, it's similar to shrimp,
Okay.
wherein you over. I think that maybe a lot of Filipinos might be overcooking their shrimp.
Okay.
You just have to cook it at the right at the right temperature and the right time, and then you don't overcook it. I
So
think that with
what's the
fish,
texture like though? Like, I mean, can you
rubbery. It's
rubbery?
tough. It's rubbery.
Okay. So you want there to be like a
Yeah,
bite, but then not necessarily
exactly.
I guess like a struggle in trying to chew it.
Yeah,
Like it needs to be like
it should
plump,
be.
but like yeah,
Mm-hmm,
like easy
exactly.
to chew, right?
Yes, yes, and it's not dried out at all.
Okay.
So because you're already using an expensive ingredient, so you really have to take no shortcuts, and at the same time treat the ingredient with respect. Make sure you follow all the steps needed. Don't rush anything, because um, that's why that's why you are using that ingredient, because you need to really make the most out of it.
Of course, yeah, because it's a premium ingredient. You don't get to have it all the time, so you need to treat it with respect and do it properly. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure some of my listeners are curious. Okay, he's talking about this lobster noodles. Oh, hey, sarap. Or the cooking process. Pero like, what's the sauce? Like, why don't you like give us like just a general overview?
Ah,
Is it a cream sauce, oil
oh
based
yeah,
sauce, or like what's going on in this lobster noodle?
oh yeah, yeah. You know what? You just that's actually the most tedious part of the whole dish. Um, Steeping the lobster and peeling the lobster is easy. Um, but the essence of the dish is actually in the sauce, in the lobster bisque. So you actually make a bisque
Okay,
out of so you make a bisque using the shells.
what's a bisque
So you
for
pick
like
up.
the people that don't know what a bisque might
It's
be?
it's essentially like a lobster stock. You're
Okay,
making a stock out of lobster shells,
so like a
lobster
soup.
shells, and the lobster head. Yes, exactly. Um, so, and that will be your pasta sauce. So
Okay.
the lobster bisque takes around 3 hours to make,
Wow. Okay.
just for you to extract all the flavors from the shell and
Everything.
the
Yeah. The
the
works.
legs,
Mm-hmm.
everything. So how do you do a lobster bisque? So you can do this with like shrimp, or you can do this with crab.
Yeah.
I've,
Any
I've done I've
crawfish.
tried it before. Yes. So what you do is so you do the steeping process. It's either you then you pick out all the meat, you save all the shells, then you can either roast the shells. You just roast them, pan roast them in a pan, meaning pan with oil or butter, medium high heat. You kind of like saute your shells,
Okay.
um, with some aromatics. So put in your onions, your garlic, carrots, and then just keep on sauteing tomato paste, and then you add water. Even white wine is okay. Put white wine, water, then you just fill it up, and then you just put that to a boil and simmer for like 3 to 4 hours.
Mm. Okay.
So, so you
Yeah.
don't rush into it. You just make sure that you get to extract as much flavor as you can from all the shells, because uh, that's where you'll be getting all your flavor from.
Right.
You
Yeah.
want to make sure that the lobster flavor comes through, because I don't think you can buy like a like a pack like a seasoning pack that says like, oh, artificial lobster
Yeah.
flavoring, right?
It's never gonna be the same. It's
So
never gonna be the same. And
exactly.
like anything great in life, things take time, especially the things that that are different from other things and that are exceptional in their whatever category it may be. It takes time. So patience. That's the tedious part, making the bisque. And honestly, my mouth is salivating. That sounds fucking phenomenal. Just some lobster bisque pasta, and for anybody that's like trying to do something little something and got a little extra budget for lobster, just try this recipe out from Mark, and I'm pretty sure you could like look that up as well. But you know these are like specialty dishes, like you said, pang small intimate groups, like for if you're cooking for a special meal, a celebration. But you can't be cooking this every time unless that's really your target market, which is specifically premium type of meals. But you took a different approach into your business strategy, which is Munch Manila. And for those of you guys who don't know what Munch Manila is, I've been talking about it since the start of the podcast. It's premium Neapolitan pizza. So for anyone that enjoys a good pizza, but given the pandemic, you can't always eat out. And when you make pa deliver, even if you get premium pizza delivered like from Salvatore Cuomo or like whatever Italian restaurant you may think of, by the time it gets to you, it's different. It hits different because it's not fresh out the oven. And Mark kind of found this perfect middle ground for frozen pizzas that you can just pop into the oven or oven toaster and just leave it in for like 5 to 10 minutes, and it comes out amazing. Everything from like the bubbling of the crust. And let me just like go on a little tangent about the crust, because I feel like when you're after Neapolitan pizza, the crust is everything. Because when you have your American pizzas, it's all about the toppings, right? Overload of cheese, the marinara sauce, basic marinara sauce, overload of cheese. Then you put like your pepperoni like all over the pizzas, or you have like your the bauto nga yung cheeseburger pizza, where they like ground meat, bacon, just like overload, like stuff that shit out of it. But with Napolitan pizza, it's a different story because it's fresh ingredients. It's all about quality, good marinara sauce, just enough toppings. But the star of the show is always the crust. And one thing with Munch Manila that I swear by is the crust. And I find it honestly mind blowing how you could have frozen pizza and just pop it in the oven, and after getting it, it tastes exactly like a freshly baked pizza. You got everything from the bubbling and the crust. Then you got some parts that are a little bit charred, some parts that are a little bit on the raw side, but you got it down to a T. So I just wanted to ask, like, what's the origin of Munch Manila? Because I know you're a cook. You know your shit when it comes to cooking, but dough is another monster. Dough is like another thing that cooks can't necessarily always get down with, because with cooks it's kind of like taste test. It's like, okay na ba to? Okay, dagdag. Okay na ba to? No, 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 sobra. So let's add a little bit more of this other stuff. But with dough, it's like a living species. It's like everything needs to be precise. Everything needs to be, rested and let time to rise at a specific amount of time. So I don't know, like, how did you get into Munch Manila after just being a cook and not necessarily a baker?
Hmm. Yeah, that's actually pretty accurate because I you know going on this culinary journey of mine, there's one ingredient that I have. I leave all the baking to my wife.
Mm,
She's the baker in the family.
okay.
I'm the one who cooks. She's the one who bakes, and I think that it's just healthy that way, that we both have our own own spaces, because it is true that I don't want she doesn't want me to meddle with her baking, and I don't want her to meddle with my cooking.
It's a dynamic.
And yeah, so what happened was, my wife said, like, hey, let's order pizza. I said, like, I told her, hey, can we not order pizza instead? Do you want to try making our own pizza at home? I said, we have flour there. We have like the we have the 00 flour, the premium Italian flour. I said my only condition is, if you want to have pizza, let's try making it ourselves. And then so my deal with her was like, you make the dough, because I'm not too familiar, I'm not too comfortable working with dough. And then she said, okay. So we went online, followed a certain recipe for a Neapolitan style dough, and then so we tried making a perfectly circle pizza. That didn't happen. That didn't work out too well. So our pizza was like kind of an abstract shape,
Okay.
where it looks like you know
Gotta start
um,
somewhere.
it's far from being a circle. But you know what? After baking it, and after baking it in the oven, the experience that you get from freshly baked hot pizza straight out from the oven hits different.
It is
Like what you're
different.
saying, it really hits different, man. So that for me was that experience alone made me think, like, why aren't we eating pizza this way? So that's where Munch Manila came up with frozen pizzas. You're guaranteed a piping hot pizza every time, because you bake it yourself. It's easy to bake, easy to prep. Takes like less than 15 minutes. Then you have a freshly baked pizza.
Right. Yeah,
Oh,
and that's like a perfect niche for you to follow, because you know nowadays, like, everybody's kind of like, for the people that do have the means, they buy uni ovens. Shout out to uni Oven Depot PH, friends of the pod, Enzo Mentos and Jared Fillard. These are like for the people that can afford, like, quality ovens. Or if you're one of those people that have a brick oven pizza, good for you, because like that's like the best way talaga to cook a pizza. But realistically, not a lot of people can afford that. And some people just want quality, freshly baked pizza. And like Mark said, it slaps different when you have it fresh off the oven. So there was a perfect niche for him to fill. And I think you did it extremely well. Like, honestly, I'm an advocate of Munch Manila. You guys make premium dough, premium toppings. Like you guys have so many different flavors, everything from your basic margarita and pepperoni to a truffle pizza, and even you make a mean pineapple pizza. Like if you were to ask me, like Jollibee spaghetti or Munch Manila Hawaiian pizza, Munch Manila Hawaiian pizza any damn day, baby. That shit's fire. Cause what's different about his pizza, just like a little sidetrack, is the pineapples. He chars them first, so I don't know. It gives like this different smoky flavor to the pineapple that you didn't even know these notes existed with pineapple, which is pretty crazy. And I'm just a big advocate of Munch Manila because you guys got the crust down to a T. You have everything from truffle to pepperoni to even sisig for the Pinoy cuisine lovers out there. There's so many different ways to make good quality pizza, and I stand by it. But yeah, like it's great that you've been able to expand and use these culinary experiences to start your own business, because like you just started during the quarantine and now you have over 8,000 followers on Instagram, so that's nothing to be taken lightly. I think you've done a phenomenal job, and you shared a little bit about your goals as a cook, and you want these intimate, like social cooking gatherings wherein you have a couple of friends or a small group of people where you can just cook for and vibe for. But I want to know, like, what's your goal maybe for like Munch Manila? Like, what do you want it to be eventually?
Um, well, eventually, I think that it, de- hmm, from Munch Manila, I think that moving forward, I hope that people would see that. I think the frozen food line is very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that minimizes prep prep time and cook time, as well as yeah, as well as trips to the grocery.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, especially nowadays. But I think as people get busier, or people don't have the time to actually cook a proper meal, then frozen food should be the next thing.
Right.
Because a lot of people are like thinking that frozen food is really bad,
Mm-hmm.
but in reality, um, frozen food actually might even be better for you, given that um, there will be some providers that would actually blast freeze your food, meaning once your food is cooked, it will be blast frozen, and that means that the 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 time difference from being fresh to frozen is only a few minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So you actually get to preserve the food still,
Yeah, the
rather than
freshness.
waiting for the food to be cooked. Then it goes through it goes through those temperature danger zones before it
Right.
gets frozen,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
right? So, but then the idea here is that if you are actually going to do frozen food, which is which is already being done by a lot of people, meaning like when you have your adobo or your meaty
Right.
stews
Yeah.
or whatnot,
In
it's
the
all
ice cream
frozen in
tub.
packs, right? Yeah, you can have that, right? Just like stock it in your fridge, then just like thaw it out. Yeah, but maybe frozen food that's something even more different
Yeah.
than your usual like frozen pizza, right?
Yeah, because you have the convenience of heating it up
Mm-hmm.
anytime. And I really think that if you're a hater of frozen food, you're honestly just lying to yourself. Because honestly, a lot of the
Mm-hmm.
things that you eat is already frozen. Like,
Exactly.
a lot of the things that you eat is already frozen. Real talk. Like, the fish you eat is frozen, the
Exactly.
bacon you eat is frozen. Like, honestly,
Exactly.
with if you go to like a low budget sushi place, like even like Teriyaki Boy or something like shit, dude, that tuna is frozen 120%
Yeah.
sure that that food is
All
frozen.
fish.
All fish
All
is
fish are
frozen.
frozen.
And frozen food has gotten such a bad stigma, from the Hunter Joes, like these like mga microwavable foods, like all of that jazz. It's gotten such a bad rap, but honestly, like the convenience of it really outweighs it, and it doesn't necessarily mean it's lower quality. Like if you could freeze, what do you call it, rapid freeze it, and like preserve the freshness of the produce and the ingredients, then there's not a lot of loss to it. And I think Munch Manila has done an amazing job in like, capitalizing on the frozen food industry, and not only capitalizing but doing it well, because I feel like your products have been you know kind of setting the standard for frozen pizza. So you could order it on one day, just order like over 5 pizzas, and you could have it for the rest of the month. On a Friday night, feeling kind of down, have a bottle of wine and just like pop in a fresh pizza, and it tastes like you just gotten a fresh pizza off the brick oven. So I think what you guys are doing is incredible, and everybody who's listening to this podcast until now should check it out. So I think that about wraps up this episode, and I just want to wrap up the pod by saying thank you so much for being on the show. Honestly, I had so much fun about talking about your history of how you got into being a cook and how you started developing these food ideas, and the history of Munch Manila. But before I go, I think now would be a perfect time for you to plug in where people can find you or the work that you do.
Um, well, for if you guys are interested, if you guys and gals are interested in tasting our delicious frozen pizzas, you can go to munchmanila.com and order online, and then we'll deliver anywhere.
Yeah, anywhere. Like I'm guessing like in the Metro Manila area, right? Like anywhere in the Metro Manila. I don't know if
No,
do you guys
actually,
do all
we
over the
have,
Philippines?
yeah, we have, I mean, we can deliver to there was this one person who actually ordered frozen pizzas from us and brought it with her to a plane
Wow.
to, I think, like maybe Davao or something.
Wow. Okay.
But you have to, of course, pack it well with like
Yeah.
ice and stuff.
But yeah, generally over Metro Manila, you can find Munch Manila. It's at Munch Manila on Instagram. And if you want to see some of Mark's food porn escapades, you could follow him on, is it Mark D? Just Mark D or Mark SD? Mark
Mark
SD.
SD.
Mark SD to, satisfy your eyes, but probably do some negative damage to your stomach. um, but yeah, so you know where to find Mark and Munch Manila. I just like to remind everyone before we end the show that we have a special Munch Manila promo where you can order 10% off your next order if you order directly from Munch Manila using the promo code RML Podcast. Again, that's 10% off your next order when you use promo code RML Podcast from Munch Manila. And that about does it. So I want to thank you all listeners for tuning in to another episode of the Raucous Modern Life podcast. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to share with hashtag RML Podcast. Hit that follow on Spotify, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube so that you never miss an episode. And as always, I'll see you all in the next one. Deuces.